Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Libra, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of April 2023. I hope you are well. I'm using the Tarot of the Abyss for you today. A little bit of housekeeping before we begin. If the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. That is link number 1. Link number 2 is to the 6-month overviews that I did for each of the signs. They run from January to June 2023. So obviously we're a little way through that period now, and I have reduced them accordingly. So if you haven't had a chance to check them out, please do feel free to avail yourself of that link. The third link is to my private community, the Order of the Phoenix, over on Circle. All of the extended content gets put over there, so you get to see it for no extra cost. We started running classes over there, and there's just an incredible group of people. So much wisdom in one space, and I love the very bones of everybody that is there. So if you're interested in coming and joining, third link. Now, let's see what's going on with you, Libra. Can I have 3 cards for Libra, please? Thank you. That one flew out. What do we have here? We have the 5 of Swords in your recent past. Tell me about current energy, please, for Libra. We have the Knight of Pentacles. And what's coming towards Libra, please? Thank you. We have the 10 of Pentacles. I like this because it speaks to me of a mindset shift, I think, that has been happening with you. We've got the 4 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck with the 7 of Swords. 7 of Cups. But behind that, we've got the High Priestess. And it feels to me like you've had some sort of wobble, I guess. Like I said, there's been a mindset shift here. There's been some sort of wobble. But what it has done is reveal something that definitely needed to be let go, but also some things that needed to remain, because that High Priestess is a position of wisdom, right? It's kind of getting down to a core truth, down to an essential truth that you had not realized, perhaps, that you had created some sort of mess over the top of. I love the fact that everything comes down to the High Priestess, and so emotional confusion and, you know, maybe old things that were chuntering along in the background, old unconscious scripts that were running, all boiling down to the fact that it feels like you're coming to a place of trusting yourself and trusting the decisions that you have made. And, you know, this whole mindset shift thing very much comes from this 5 of Swords here. That is a card that we often associate with self-sabotage, particularly this one. I'll flip it around so you can't see because of the sun. Sorry, it's very bright today. Self-sabotage is the thing that I see in this card most often. Let's get some clarifiers out before I start chuntering on like I do. I'll give these a proper shuffle. So, tell me about this 5 of Swords, please. Thank you. We have the Queen of Cups and we have the World. Ooh, that's an interesting combination. Tell me about the Knight of Pentacles. Thank you. We have the 7 of Swords. Amazing. Ooh, I've got a whole glut of cards here. I'm not going to take all of these because there's 4 of them, but look at this. We have the 5 of Swords again. We have the 7 of Pentacles. We have the Ace of Swords, and we have the Queen of Wands. I mean, if that isn't a shift, I don't know what is. I'm not going to take all of these because there's too many, but, you know, we've got that same energy there with the 5 of Swords. We have 7 of Pentacles as well, and I think what is really, really glorious about this is the realization that it is not about your external environment, right? Whatever it is that you've been struggling with, it's required an alignment of you somewhere. The 7 Pentacles are actually placed over the chakra points on this person that is depicted here. Is such an intelligent, artistic interpretation of the energy of the 7 of Pentacles, I think, because the investment needs to go into you. Now, whatever changes that is going to lead to in your immediate environment, that's all fine. But in the first instance, just like with the High Priestess, we've got you know, focusing on what it is that you know. And something's been balanced out here. Something's been aligned. There is a truth that you have arrived at. And now there's the contemplation of movement coming in, right? The increasing confidence in what it is that you have decided to do. I've got an eyelash or something stuck in my eye. Incredibly irritating. Anyway, tell me about this Knight of Pentacles, please. Thank you. Oof. Give this. The Tower. Well, the Ten of Wands and the Tower. I like it. I really like this combination. Don't panic because the Tower is there. I think the Tower is extremely necessary. Tell me about the Ten of Pentacles, please. Thank you. We have the Ace of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands with the Magician at the bottom of the deck. I'm just going to shut this fucking window for a moment because the wind is trying to... Well, I gave up trying to keep the candle lit. I lit it about 7 times and the wind just kept blowing it out. So I've given up on that somewhat. This looks amazing. And it looks amazing because first and foremost, we've got the mindset shift. And what we've got you doing is going from a place of spearing your own spiritual development, which is very much how I read this card. Because for me, I can't think of a circumstance yet where this card has come up and I have not perceived your energy or whoever I happen to be reading as being both the boy and the butterfly simultaneously, right? It's that self-sabotage. Butterflies are symbols of transformation. And everybody is going through something rather transformative at the moment. Whether or not you're aware of to the extent at which you're transforming is a different matter altogether, but it is happening. And we've got it not only in a jar, but then also you being the boy at the same time, kind of pushing this through. And because it's swords, we're talking about words, we're talking about communication, we're talking about the operations of the mind. Where has your mind been holding you back all of this time? You know, just as we saw with that Seven of Pentacles there, it's that sense that if something outside of you is proving to be vexatious to your spirit, then have a look and see what's going on inside with the spirit. You know, is this a mindset issue? Is this a powerlessness issue? Is it an issue of anxiety? Because I think we keep coming back to this idea of power with the Magician, because you're not sure that you can pull off what it is that you have set in motion in front of you. I can't remember what I called your reading last month. I don't even remember all of the salient details, but what I did remember was that there were changes that you were looking to make, right? There were changes in the offing. It may be even things that you had set in motion, but there was somewhat of a crisis of confidence in what it is that you had set off, as it were. But the Magician here, you know, yes, he talks about you having all of the tools that you need to do whatever it is that you're trying to pull off. But the important thing is, it's combining his intent with the tools that are available. And for you, it seems to be coming down to a question of faith in yourself. So in the past, in the recent past, you have been perhaps second-guessing yourself. Perhaps you have been wondering if what it was that you were setting up was something that actually should be done by somebody else, because, you know, maybe you weren't powerful enough to do it. Maybe you didn't have the stamina to do it. Maybe, you know, there were all sorts of other considerations. Maybe they were financial. Maybe they were energetic. Oh, God, can I even, you know, do this for the amount of time that I've been looking to do it? And the Magician says yes. All you had to notice was that you were standing in your own fucking way. What is required here is your will and your intent, the tools to create the job, which you have, and that trust and wisdom that comes from the High Priestess, the ability to be able to follow your own intuition because you trust it when it speaks. This is huge. So we've got the Queen of Cups and the World card here. Now, normally we talk about the World in terms of being the end point of the major arcana, right? It runs from the Fool to the World, across 22 cards numbered 0 to 21. And once you get to the World, it's about stepping up and then starting again, right? Everything is cycles, and we have cycles that move within cycles. We have small cycles, big cycles. We usually talk about this in terms of an ending, but I'm actually feeling a slightly different interpretation here for you, because, and it's this Queen of Cups that's done it, because the Queen of Cups is so receptive. You know, we can talk about things in terms of what it is that you allow to enter your internal space. And that goes very much for your thoughts as well. The way that you see yourself, your perceptions on the world, all that kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, you are not your thoughts. And anybody who's meditated for any length of time comes to that essential realization. I mean, well, fuck it, even if you've taken, you know, made a career out of psychedelics, you know, like quite often what you realize in the act of tripping your box off is that you are not your thoughts, and that there is that kind of observer effect where you can watch what is happening, which means that you exist in a place that is beyond thought, which is incredible. So the Queen of Cups is about how we receive, and the way that she is adjusting the meaning of the World card here for me is the world is out there for you. In the first instance, you have to claim it, but you also have to allow yourself to receive it. And I think up until this point in your very recent past, you were not in a place where you allowed yourself to receive. Now that's just as powerful a thing as going out and actively pursuing the thing that you want. In fact, in some ways it can be more powerful because it tends to be the thing that operates at a far lower level than the conscious desire, let's put it that way. So literally the world is your oyster if you allow it to be. You know, I've spoken to quite a few of the signs this month about the nature of reality and how we are able to manipulate it, which is exactly what the magician is about here. Because it is incredibly malleable. And a shift of mindset will shift everything around you, even if nothing changes, because you're seeing it from a different angle. And more than that, you know, when your self-worth comes to a point where you are able to succeed, then we have that second meaning of the World card coming in. Like, you're fucking graduating, Libra. You're doing it. This doesn't matter anymore because you're not doing that, and in not doing that, you are bringing you're bringing an end to the cycle that you have been in, and allowing yourself to create, to manifest the life that you want for yourself. But the important thing to realize is it's only ever you that's been in the way. Now we move into your current energy, and we've got the Knight of Pentacles, and it could well be, I think, that whatever it is that you've got laid out in front of you, at this point what you're dealing with is logistics. You know, the Knight of Pentacles is very practical. It's a very slow-moving card. It's very reliable, it's very dependable, but it is very slow-moving. As we can see, he's not even on the horse. He's actually walking alongside the horse here. He's not going anywhere fast, but he is pacing himself. And that is important. It's really, really important, because what we've got going on underneath here with the Seven of Swords and the Ten of Wands and the Tower card is a sense that everything is changing very, very soon. Everything is changing, and it's not just a small change. You're not going from, working in accounts to going over to working in HR in the same company. You know, the Tower card is ruled by Pluto, and maybe it is that Pluto moving into Aquarius is going to have quite a dramatic effect on you. I think it's going to have an effect on everyone, and it's really interesting because everything is so loose now. I think that's the best way to put it. Everything is so loose that predictability is something that is kind of hard to come by. Certainty is very hard to come by at this point. Kind of two things that the Knight of Pentacles really enjoys, actually. Where was I going with this? Can't even remember. It'll come back. Anyway, the Knight of Pentacles is about controlling what it is that it is actually within your control to do. Oh yeah, big changes. These are big changes. You know, this is this is, for example, we could have you traveling to the other side of the planet, right? I actually know 2 Libras just off the top of my head who are doing exactly that thing. It could be about leaving work and setting up a new business. Definitely kind of looking ahead. It could be something like that. It could be, you having worked for quite a long time altogether and realizing that you could, live a much more frugal life and live on what you've got in your savings in the bank if you chose to go and live somewhere else. There are lots of ways in which this could happen, and it's like, well, there's a lot of uncertainty around the size, the magnitude of what it is that you're trying to pull off. What you're focusing on is the practical stuff, the little steps that you can take. And like I said, this actually could be something to do with just like the financial aspect of it. But there's a lot of investment of time and energy and your focus on what it is that you're doing, because there's a risk. Now, it's somewhat of a trope that Libra likes to be balanced about things, but I think perhaps the biggest issue that you were having here was that you were out of balance with what it was you were trying to bring about, right? Even though it was your vision, you'd been standing in the way of it. Now, the place of finding the balance in the middle is accepting the uncertainty of the magnitude of whatever it is that you're going to try to pull off. It doesn't... success is not guaranteed, because there's something very new about it. I mean, even consider the fact that the World card is there. There's a sense here of you leaving behind what you have known in favour of something else. And yes, there's a lot of hard work associated with it, but I love it in the Night Sun Tarot because we've got this idea of it, you making it look easy, or at least making it look like an art in some way, right? And you know how I talk about the 10 of Wands, right? There's always this idea that, I look at that card and I'm like, why the fuck would anyone choose to carry that many sticks in one go? Like, where is it you making life hard for yourself? Did you need all 10 wands? Did you need them at once? Could you stashed some underneath the bush? Could you have got someone along to come and help you with it? There's lots of other possibilities other than carrying wands in such an arduous way, right? What I really like about this is not only have they been fashioned into stars, and stars represent our hopes and our dreams for the future and amongst other things, right? But they've been fashioned into such a way that they can actually be useful here now. So that those ones could actually just be kind of like looped over the hand, if you will, or even like put round your neck or something, and you can just carry them that way, leaving your hands free. There's something very artful and very deft about the way that you're dealing with this, because the balance never needed to be between you and the thing. Well, actually it did, but that the fulcrum actually was you. It's not like the balance was you over here and the thing that you wanted to do over here. It was old life, Libra, new life. You're the point of balance here between the two. So yes, there's a lot of hard work and there's a lot of burden, but it's taking you towards something that you want to do. I mean, whenever the Knight of Pentacles comes up, it's a card of commitment, hard work. This is somebody showing up because the things that they are changing really mean something to them. It's really important. I'll come back to this Four of Pentacles here. In some ways, it feels like a lot of your core values have been sifted through. A lot of things that were emotionally confusing have been sifted through, taking you, down to a point where it's like, well, actually, the only things that are important are these things. This is where I'm going to expend my energy. This is where I'm going to expend my effort. In some ways, in all ways, we've got you in a state of preparation to walk through this door. And whether it's a practical shift, a very 3D centered shift that you're doing or not, there's an emphasis on the spiritual aspect actually of what it is that you're doing. There's a leveling up here, a grand leveling up for you, not because of what you do, but because of what you have worked through to get to that place in the first place. What you now consider to be important A lot of things have fallen by the wayside for you, Libra, and I would be surprised if you're even missing any of those things now, because the change that has occurred in you is epic. Like, I'm not fucking about with my words here. It is an epic thing. What we got underneath here, there you go. 6 of Pentacles and the Magician. When you realise that you are the thing that needs to be balanced rather than the situation, we have you stepping into your power. We have you stepping into the ability to be able to manifest whatever fucking reality it strikes you want at any given point. Now, when we come here to the 10 of Pentacles, we've got the Ace of Pentacles and the 8 of Wands. And this is what is coming towards you in April. You know, the 10 of Pentacles can talk to business. It can talk to family. It can talk to your core values, right? And the macro expression of your core values. So you've been doing all of this work on you, and now you're shifting things, you're changing things. I mean, in some ways, I guess this could be essentially your reality. But what we've got down here is a new point of attention, right? We've got an opportunity to invest in this fully so that this comes out. I mean, this might well be your end vision for what it is that you're doing. So if you are setting up a business, it's like, right, I'm going to set up a successful business that is going to allow me to do X, Y, and Z, right? Maybe it's a service that you're providing. Maybe it's a way that you want to change the way that your life works at the moment. I have to say, having worked for people my entire life and now being self-employed for the last 3.5 years, there's not a chance I could ever go back to working for anyone else. I just can't do it. I don't want to do it. There you go. I don't want to do it. Because I like the autonomy of running my own existence. What about the 10 of Pentacles here, please? I've got the 2 of Wands, and maybe it's the same for you. You like the options. Autonomy, I think, is a really fucking good word for what's going on here, right? It's like, what makes you happy? Not what does society expect of you. You know, not how close to what society considers to be success are you currently operating. You know, do you own your own house? Have you got a job that pays you a fortune? You know, or what's your tax paying status? Are you a higher rate taxpayer? I know people for whom that kind of thing is important, and that without that they would feel as nothing. But this sense that your core values have shifted around, and the investment now is in you and what you want, even in your autonomy, your sovereignty to decide what you want. I feel like there's a wholesale rejection of what other people think is important going on with you, Libra. Certainly in favour of what you now consider to be important and what lights you up emotionally. But it's this freedom to choose seems really, really important. Well, we've got the Hermit at the bottom of the deck here, you know, with the King of Cups directly after it. I mean, that for me is a point of emotional maturation where you're really taking charge of your own emotions, because you're taking the time to go in and analyse them, to go and talk to them and find out what they actually want. And it could be that if you've ever felt like there was a bit of a schism between bits of you, that actually that imbalance, for which I think is more representative of Libra, was operating. That what you've done is found a way to stitch it together. What you're doing is stitching it together. You know, because one of the problems with I think, having Libra as a major placement is that it can be quite focused on other people. You know, Libra's about relationships, right? Libra is about harmony and union within those relationships. And often what we tend to find is that Libra will subjugate their needs in favour of what works for everybody else, right? What keeps those that keeps those relationships kind of bobbing along on a level. But the question you have to ask yourself is, how much effort have you been expending in trying to keep those relationships as they are, at the expense of yourself? And were they ever really providing anything for you. You know, it's almost like, it's not almost like, it is like, it's a feeling of not having lived a truly authentic life, where you put what drives you emotionally right at the floor. Or maybe you have, but you're realizing that it's coming from a slightly fractured place of trying to please everybody else. Like, this is gone. This is no more. You really are stepping into who you are supposed to be. And it's got a very different outcome to what everybody else thinks that you should be doing. And you don't care. And that's fucking magnificent. I love that. Because although all the work on yourself that you have done on yourself has had the eventual effect of making you feel better about just being you, I still feel like you've been creeping up to the point of neutrality that I'm always talking about, right? Where we're not kind of wrestling with demons down here, or, you know, whatever it is that we're doing when we're in that kind of negative space, but where we have potential and opportunity. I think in some ways it's easier for people to get to grips with what is negative about them than it is to accept what is good, right? And to allow themselves to turn towards the light and actually be what they are meant to be what they were put here to do. Because in the very first instance, right, what is required is a knowing of thyself, and so many people choose not to know themselves. So once you know yourself and you've got that under your belt, as it were, the corollary, the next step, is to start the expansion of the good, you know, for the want of some better vocabulary that currently eludes me. Because we've got you coming out of a black hole, and it's almost like you didn't realise you were in a black hole for the longest time. You just kept putting one foot in front of the other and climbing up and climbing up and climbing up. And you're arriving at a place now. There's the neutrality. You don't have to be bumbling along in a hole under the ground, trying desperately to reach the light, but there's just another wand and another wand, and there's things that you have to keep doing. Like, you've arrived, you're here. And so the question is, what are you going to do with it? Well, you're going to do everything with it. Because the desire is to move from the Ace of Pentacles to the 10. But it's authentically you. And it's nothing to do with anybody else. It's so interesting how many readings this idea of fashioning your own reality is coming up in now. And it's been for the last month. People realising just the extent to which they have almost been a slave to societal expectations, right? And that the unquestioning part of us is a result of us kind of absorbing that in for the longest time, right? So then it just becomes what reality is. You're totally breaking out of it. Things are being done differently. And it might well be that some people are kind of looking at you sideways and going, what the fuck are you doing? And that might have bothered you at one point, but it's not bothering you now. It's like you've come down to this point of realising that you've got one life and you are going to live it. You're prepared to invest yourself in it. You're prepared to take the risk. This is fucking admirable, Libra. You know, sometimes Libras like to control situations, right? An emotionally damaged Libra will seek to control situations. And it might be, you know, through emotional stuff. It might be through, you know, managing other people's perceptions of you by adjusting yourself and being personally malleable to, you know, whatever relationship or situation you find yourself in. But because you've come to that point of realising that the balance only has to exist in you, like that, between the bits of you, all bits of you, so that they're all kind of sitting in alignment, Nothing else really matters. It actually doesn't matter if the tower's doing all sorts of things around you, because you have faith in what you're doing. Like, I feel a very single-minded focus coming in for you in April. I mean, it's here already, but it's really getting its expression out in the 3D world in April. So whatever it is that you are currently working towards, it's happening out here. And it feels life-changing. But again, I want to point out, it's not because of what you're doing, it's because of what you had to change in yourself to get to the place where you accept that this is something that you can do. This is a huge leap up spiritually, and correspondingly, the access that you have to certain kinds of information is going up exponentially too. And I don't really know what that means, but I've just been told to tell you that, because without the white noise of these over the top, you've got the High Priestess and the Magician and the Hermit, and that's all you need. Like, where you go from here and what starts in April will change you, but a lot of the big work's been done already. This is fucking magnificent. I love this for you, Libra. Right, I'm going to leave it here. If this has resonated with you and you want to come explore a little bit deeper, I am going over to Vimeo now. It's the first link in the description box. We're going to pull April apart a little bit and see what's going on, see what you need to know about that. So yes, please do join me if you would like to, or come over and watch all the stuff on Circle. If not, that's absolutely fine. No shade, no judgment or anything like that. Just that point of connection that you have found inside yourself, right, where you're connecting to something that feels like it's moving you, just you, right? That's the point of meditation for you. That's the point of focus. That's the thing that you have to hone in on, because like I said, there's information coming in, and it's coming in a different way to the way that you are accustomed to it coming in, but it's pure. You can trust it. And I am very excited for you. So, know that I love you all very, very much. And I'll see you soon.